Hey girls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today's video is going to be my May TBR. Now I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently than other TBRs that I've filmed before. At the time that I am filming this video, I am currently in a little bit of a reading slump, so instead of picking out specific books that I want to read and that I'm planning on reading in the month of May, I would also kind of do a simultaneous, not just a TBR, but a library haul and kind of go through all of the books that I currently have checked out from my library and have you guys decide and just kind of have other people pick my TBR for me. I feel like this will work really well for a variety of reasons. Number one, just kind of showing all of my library books I feel like will give me some accountability to read them, pick them up and read them, and then get them returned to the library so other people can enjoy them. I think just maybe talking about all of them will kind of help me in my mind a little bit, even subconsciously decide what I want to read next as I'm talking about them, and then also of course getting other people's feedback. So definitely let me know in the comments down below what you want me to read. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started talking about all the books that I could potentially read in May, plus a library haul for you all. Okay, so this is my library shelf. All of the books that I currently have checked out from the library, with some exceptions. I do have a couple that I am in the middle of. So I currently plan on reading, I'm in the middle of reading Sundial by Catriona Ward. So this is one that I will hopefully finish in May, because I am 50% of the way through this one at the moment. So hopefully finishing this in May. And then another one that I plan on reading in May is Book of Night by Holly Black. Another one that's probably going to be on my May TBR because I have already started it. So fingers crossed that I can actually get this done in May. But I kind of have these organized a little bit in the way of genre, or really just mostly I have them organized by nonfiction and fiction. So I'll go through my nonfiction ones first. So first off, we have Demon Voices by Philip Pullman, and this is a collection of essays, I want to say, on stories and storytelling. Philip Pullman wrote my favorite series of all time, His Dark Materials. So I think this one might be a little bit similar to Stephen King's On Writing. I think some of the stories might be a little bit more personal to Philip Pullman himself, but also talking about storytelling and the power of writing. So this is a possibility. Next up for nonfiction, I have Believing by Anita Hill, Our 30-Year Journey to End Gender Violence. I believe this is kind of going to be like a hybrid, maybe I think a little bit of a memoir on Anita Hill's part, and then also talking about her work to end gender violence. This one I'm very interested in checking out, also a little bit nervous to check out. I feel like with all of the fuckery that's going on in the United States right now, this is either like the perfect time to pick this up, or maybe one I should be careful picking up, because I just feel like, obviously based on subject matter, this is going to be a very deep and difficult to read. So that is an option for nonfiction. And last but not least, for nonfiction, we have The Apparitionists, The Tale of Phantoms, Fraud, Photography, and the Man Who Captured Lincoln's Ghost. I just really love ghosts. I really do. Ghost nonfiction, ghost stories. I'm just very interested in the supernatural, and I really do love nonfiction like this, exploring kind of the intersections of history of the supernatural movement and spiritualism and all of that. So yeah, I think this one just potentially could be a little bit more lighthearted maybe than Believing, the previous nonfiction, but yeah, this is a nonfiction pick as well. Moving on to fiction, which is going to be the rest of them. We have Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee. I believe this one is a heist story in kind of a reverse Indiana Jones sort of way. I think this one is about a group of Chinese American students, and they all kind of have different relationships with their identities and diaspora, and I think there is a band of students who get together and steal back artifacts from a museum. So I think this one's like a fast-paced thriller, reverse Indiana Jones sort of story, and I think this is a debut. I also have Court by Tracy Wolff. This is the 4th book in the Crave series. This is really, I want to say the first one very much reads like a Twilight alternate universe fanfic. I do think it does get a lot better in later installations, coming up with its own story. It's a lot of fun. It's like a CW show, honestly, like Vampire Diaries. It's vampires and werewolves and a bunch of different magical creatures in a magical school setting. It's a YA series. It's just a lot of like a goofy supernatural creature fun. They're very thick books, but they're enjoyable reads, and honestly, if you've ever been in a situation where you kind of like want to relive your Twilight years and you try and reread Twilight and realize that it's just very dated and problematic, honestly, these books, I think they're going to hold up a lot better, and they're just YA paranormal fun. Next up, probably could not be more different than Court. We have To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. This is the author of A Little Life. This one is, I want to say, science fiction, maybe dystopian even. It follows like 3 different stories that are all interwoven through time. So I think there's like in the past and in the future, far future, but I think it's like an alternate America story. And with this author, I'm sure it's hard hitting. I'm sure it's going to be so impactful. Again, this is another book that is absolutely massive. Next up, we have The Bone Orchard by Sarah A. Mueller. This is a fantasy horror. I've honestly seen it kind of go in both categories, and honestly don't know a lot about this one. Really drawn in by the cover, intrigued by the cover. This one was definitely like a cover pick up for me, and I'm not really sure about what this is about. And the cover kind of suggests that it's going to be like a darker horror fantasy, so interested. Next up, we have Tripping Arcadia by Kit Mayquist, and this is a sapphic gothic novel. Honestly, this one, I am about halfway through. I've been trying to read this one since February, and I feel like I either need a push to DNF it or a push to keep going with it, because it just definitely was not what I thought it was going to be. It was receiving a lot of early comps to like Great Gatsby. Like I kept seeing Great Gatsby in here and talking about how like it was like queer Great Gatsby vibes. This does not take place in like the 1920s or anything like that. It takes place in like, I want to say 2008, like right around that stock market-y crash sort of era. So definitely not what I thought what it was going into it. And it's definitely taking like a different kind of story and pace than I thought. I think I'm enjoying it. This is one where every time I pick it up, I do manage to read like a chapter or two, and I think Kit Mayquist, I think they're a really good author. The writing's good. I just don't know if the story is drawing me in, and I don't know if that's because I had way different expectations for it than what it was going to be, but if anyone's picked this up, let me know. Should I keep going with it or should I DNF? Next up, we have The Resting Place by Camilla Stien, and this is translated by Alexandra Fleming. I read The Lost Village earlier this year and really enjoyed it. This is a horror about a woman who witnesses, I believe, her grandmother's murder, and she has face blindness, so she has no idea who did it, just that she saw her grandmother, I believe, get murdered, and so obviously the person knows that she saw them, but she can't identify them. And then I think she receives an inheritance with some other people, and they all move in to her grandmother's old estate, so horror, murder mystery sort of vibes for this one. I also have A Lullaby for Witches by Hester Fox. This one is one I have not heard about talked about anywhere. I haven't seen it on Book Talk. I haven't seen it on Bookstagram. I haven't seen it on BookTube. I work for a library, so when I saw this come in, honestly, this is going to sound so silly, but this was such a floppy paperback, and I really liked the way the book felt, and I was kind of intrigued by the synopsis as well. So I really know nothing about this, but this is, I think, maybe horror with time travel elements, but it also has to deal with Salem and witches, and I think it's like a magical horror. So This one, really a mystery. I really don't know what it's about, but it was a floppy paperback that kind of sounded interesting, so I picked it up. Next up, we have Beautiful Nightmares by KJ Sutton. I'm going to be completely honest, I've been working my way very, very slowly through Deadly Dreams. I actually don't know where it is at the moment. Somewhere in my house I have it, so I wouldn't be picking this up this month. But this is one where I start the book in this series. I'm very excited to start it. The middle really loses me. I get so bored, and I feel like the middle of these books are just like not the best for me, and then the ending comes and I enjoy the ending and I want to see what's next, and I fall into this trap every single time in this series, and I'm on book 3 and it's been taking me a really long time. So this is another one where, like, is this series worth it? I need to know people's opinions, because I feel like I keep getting stuck in the same sort of routine with this one, where I'm excited, I'm really excited to pick the next book in the series up, and then I start it and it kind of puts me in a slump and it takes me such a long time to read it, but then by the end it leaves off on like a cliffhanger and I want to know what happens next. So I don't know where I'm going with these series, and these are huge books too, so it's a pretty big time commitment to feel so back and forth on. So I guess, I don't know. Anyone who has read this entire series, is it worth it? Does it keep getting better, or is it like not as good as the first two? Because I liked the first one a lot better than the second. Probably might like the second one better than the third at the moment, even though I haven't finished. So I guess just let me know. And then last but not least, we have Far from the Light of Heaven by Taday Thompson. And this is a science fiction. I think this is actually the only science fiction that I have checked out from the library at the moment. And I haven't heard the best things about this one, unfortunately. This is one that I picked up because of the cover, and I was intrigued in it, and since then I've seen a lot of not so favorable reviews on it, so I'm a little nervous to pick it up. But if other people picked it up and really enjoyed it, that might push me to pick it up. I believe this is a sci-fi about a ship where I think one person wakes up after a long interstellar journey and everyone else on the ship has mysteriously died. So I think it's like a locked room mystery in space. Not really sure. But yeah, that is the last book on my sort of TBR shelf for the library. That is the library haul, if you will. I'll kind of give you a moment to look at all of these books all together. Definitely, please let me know down below which one of these I should pick up, which should I prioritize, or even, you know, maybe which ones, especially like ones that I'm very on the fence about, like the Fortuna Sworn series and Tripping Arcadia, like if I should keep going with them. Let me know. Definitely give me your recommendations, or if kind of you're seeing from the type of books that I gravitate towards on this shelf, if you have something else that you have as a recommendation, I could really use it for my May TBR, because I do not want to be in this reading slump anymore. I want to pick up some good books, so please help me. And that is going to be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below, especially for this video. Let me know what books that I should be picking up in the month of May, and subscribe to my channel for more content from me. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!